So, while Kyrie Irving is still the best player on the Celtics, 3 games into this particular season, in this moment, Jayson Tatum has been their best player so far. In fact, he's been perhaps the only consistent source of offense for them. And I think Tatum realizes it because he's taking a lot more contested shots than he did last year. Because last season, there'd be a lot of times when he would pass the ball off, keep the offense moving, and he still has done that a bit this year. But there's also been times when he's clearly said to himself, all right, I'm just going to score right now because we don't really have much. And now the question is Tatum already the second best player on this team? Like, is he already better than, let's say, a 100% Gordon Hayward? Now, of course, we don't really know what a 100% Gordon Hayward looks like right now, and we're not going to see it and probably until, like, midway through this season or whatever. But if you think about it, if you look back on what Hayward was at his best days in Utah, which was probably his last season, okay? A guy who can occasionally run ISOs, run a decent amount of pick and rolls, not going to beat everyone off the dribble, but good enough to beat like a decent amount of the league off the bounce, fadeaways, step backs, needs to play within a system, but can sometimes just do his own thing and be successful. To put up about high teens, low 20s in points, right? On top of that, make a few plays here and there for teammates. What did he get, like 4 assists a game, something like that? Efficient all the way through. Versus Jayson Tatum, who, when we look at what he did in the postseason, now what he's doing in this season, Tatum has the ability to be a 20-plus point scorer, potentially right now. And if he was not on the Celtics and he was on, like, the Sacramento Kings or something, could he have already been, like, putting up Devin Booker numbers on a bad team? Yeah, I think that's possible. And his ability to just score out of nowhere is definitely better than Hayward's is. I mean, the turnaround jumper he had last night to seal the game against the Knicks, the pull-up jumpers, and just his craftiness, the fact that his three-pointers are still going in so far. I mean, Tatum's just got the entire package as a scorer at this very moment. Now, of course, I'm not going to say Tatum is the best player on the team because Kyrie is still the main dude who just has not been able to make a shot early on this season. I mean, game 1 against the Sixers, he had a lot of good looks that they just didn't go in. I think perhaps his legs were not totally under him. One thing we have to remember with Kyrie is, he had a lower body injury. He's had a series of those throughout his career. And the last time he had a significant one, he really wasn't that good for the Cavs that entire season. I mean, if you go down his career stats, there's one year in particular that just stands out like a sore thumb because his efficiency was not good that year. He shot 32%. Now, of course, he was great in the playoffs, so he figured it out eventually, but is there a chance that we're going to see that again? I don't know. I mean, he did have a few months before this season to recover, whereas I don't remember him having that in the 2016 season. So it probably will not take as long, but could we be seeing the beginning stages of that right now? Yeah, potentially. I mean, he got it going a bit against the Knicks last night, but the other problem that the Celtics are having right now is that their offense is not good at all. I mean, I know it's only 3 games into the season, but they're 27th in offensive rating. Like, the flow of this team is not totally there right now. I mean, I think the only guy who is all the way back in terms of flowing within the offense, I mean, Tatum's been the best player, but a lot of the time he's just been bailing the team out because they had nothing going on for that possession. The only guy who's like all the way there is pretty much Horford, whose efficiency is there. He's averaging his normal 5 assists a game. Like, he's doing his normal thing. He's setting screens, handoffs, bringing the ball up floor off a rebound. It seems like everybody else has an adjustment they need to make, right? Rozier's now playing behind Kyrie. Kyrie can't make a shot. Hayward has to be on this minutes restriction, as well as he just has to gain his confidence back from the injury. Jaylen Brown has never been as offensively gifted as the rest of these guys, like Hayward and Tatum and Kyrie, so it's like, if the offense is not flowing effectively, he's not going to be able to get open as much, and his efficiency has suffered a little bit because of it. So it kind of makes sense that the one guy who is actually going to score for them would be Tatum, because he's the one dude who's like offensively gifted and who is not making a massive adjustment. You know what I mean? But now the question is, once Kyrie is 100%, once Hayward is 100%, what is the shot distribution on this team going to look like? I think my guess is Kyrie is going to be putting up his normal 25 points a game. He still leads the team in shot attempts by a decent margin. Actually, that's not correct at all. I'm sorry. He does lead the team in shot attempts, but he's neck and neck with Tatum, so never mind. But I think he'll be able to still get his normal shots. He's going to take a lot of threes. He's going to flow within the offense, and he's going to do off-ball things that Brad Stevens has his point guards do. He should be fine. And he can go ISO and pick and roll in fourth quarters when they really need it, which is what he did against the Knicks last night. I think Tatum is going to be right behind him, probably in the low 20s. And then I believe Hayward is going to be the third leading scorer, putting up probably like 16 points a game, a solid 4 or 5 assists. And then after that, stuff will just fall into place, I guess. Another thing that'll be interesting is the lineups. I remember early on I said you could have like Tatum play with the bench guys. I think that's still an option. And I do think if Tatum's going to keep on creating his offense the way he is, then that probably makes the most sense, because I think you can still have a pretty damn good offense if you went with Kyrie, Hayward, Jalen, Horford, and then you brought in either Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, whoever. And then you had Tatum with that second unit, and Tatum basically just played all the minutes that Ojale played in the playoffs. Then I think you can maintain your offense, because, I mean, Tatum, again, he's the second best guy on this team now in terms of creating his own shot. And while the second unit can be good defensively with, Marcus Smart, Aaron Baines, Marcus Morris, you do need a little bit more shot creation, and Tatum will definitely fit that mold. Because then you got Marcus Morris, who does his 15-foot ISOs that seem to work, even though I never think they're going to. Rozier can be effective in the pick and roll, and then Tatum can just get you a bucket whenever you need one. Now, could there be a chance that this all doesn't go well, and the team never totally gels, and the off-ball movement is like a step too slow, and sometimes Tatum wants to ISO a little too much, or Hayward gets a little frustrated that he hasn't touched the ball in a few minutes, or Kyrie takes a couple of extra bad threes a game? I mean, it is possible. I don't think that'll happen, just because I don't think anybody on this team has ever shown a history of being frustrated when they don't shoot the ball. I mean, I could picture Kyrie being like that, but he's going to lead the team in shot attempts anyway, so I think it's fine. And then you've got Brad Stevens, who is going to find ways to just get everybody their necessary shots. And it also helps that you've got Horford, who doesn't care if he only shoots 2 times a game. So, yeah, I think they should be all right. But, looking at the postseason, then looking at the first 3 games of this year, Jayson Tatum has earned the right to be the number 2 guy in shot attempts on this team.